Hey, this is Ken. I normally host the Information Nation. I thought I'd do a little video for you today. We have Chucky Schumer, who's complaining about Putin. I thought you might find what he has to say extremely interesting, and I'll comment on it after the video is played.
In our broadcast center in New York, Democratic Senator Chuck Schumer is with us this morning. Senator Schumer, all of this comes as there is increasing pressure in Congress to rein in the National Security Agency. Do you think this is going to change that debate in any way, or should there be more controls on the NSA?
Well, I think what today shows, of course, is that security is very, very important, and that the agencies in charge are darn good. They're able to listen in and hear what's going on. They have disrupted many, many, many terrorist plots, and let's hope they're disrupting this one as well. Having said that, you know, there's always a balance between security and liberty. And there's always a time to re-examine that. It is appropriate to do that right now. And I do think that re-examination will go forward. My view is very simple. In these things, there should be, whenever there's a age-old fight between security and liberty, which there has been since the Constitution was written, first, there should be an open debate in both Congress and with the American people. Second, rules should be established. And third, and I think here's the weakness, there has to be an independent arbiter to make sure the rules are being enforced. And because the FISA court is so secret, people don't know if it's being an effective independent arbiter or not. Some say yes, some say no. So a proposal like that of Senator Merkley, which would make the FISA court provisions more public, of course, redacting anything that would affect national security, might make some sense and might let the American people know more what's going on.
You came down pretty hard the other day on Edward Snowden and the Russians when they granted asylum to Snowden. He, of course, is the guy who's leaked so much of this information. Do you think that any of what we're going through right now has anything to do with anything that Snowden might have leaked that these people have picked up and are now causing them to push forward on this?
Well, it's much too early to tell that. Obviously, these plots that Al-Qaeda does take months and months and months to germinate, so obviously they started before that. Whether it had an effect, no one knows, but I will say that the relationship between the United States and Russia, for instance, is more poisonous than at any time since the Cold War because of all of this.
Well, what about the Russians giving Snowden asylum? You said the other day it was a stab in the back. What should we do now? Should we not go to that international economic conference in Russia? Should the president cancel the individual summit that he had planned with President Putin?
Yep, I would urge the president to cancel the bilateral summit he's having with Mr. Putin. President Putin's behaving like a schoolyard bully, and in my experience I've learned unless you stand up to that bully, they ask for more and more and more, and he's always going out of his way, President Putin is, to seem to poke us in the eye, whether it's in Iran, in Syria, now with Snowden. So I would urge the president not to go forward with the bilateral meeting next month. That would give Putin the kind of respect he doesn't deserve at this point in time. I'd also urge the president to try to urge our allies, if it were possible, to move the G20 summit away from St. Petersburg. Some of them may not want to do that. The G20 summit's important, but certainly on our own end, for the president to meet with Putin in a one-on-one meeting later this month would give him respect he doesn't deserve after all he's done.
So you just moved the whole thing, not only cancel the summit with Putin, but also move the whole international conference. Senator,
if possible, I think we'd have to, Bob, get the okay of our allies, and some of them might say no on that one, and I still would go forward with that.
Why do you think Putin did this? I mean, this is kind of has a high school-like scenario to it, but you know, often nations have some reason behind their actions. Do you think this was a calculated strategy on his part?
Look, I think that President Putin feels the loss of Russian power certainly since the end of the Cold War, keenly, being an old KGB officer, and he's trying to build it back up. The trouble is, the way he's trying to build it back up is not by strengthening the economy or making Russia a more free and robust place. He persecutes all of his political opponents, but rather by sort of stepping on our back. There's always somebody in any group, whether it's a business, a social organization, a religious organization, who can get a lot of attention by making trouble, even though the common good goes in the other direction. And Putin seems to want to build himself up in the negative ways, not the positive ways that a leader often does. I think that's his motivation. In the long run, that doesn't succeed. But in the short run, by standing up to him and showing him that those kinds of, as you say, sometimes puerile actions should have consequences, makes sense. And that's why I think we shouldn't go forward with the bilateral summit.
Well, Senator, thank you very much. I think you made a little news here this morning.
Wow, Chucky baby. I find it extremely interesting how he talks about involving everybody and having some talks and going from that area. That didn't quite seem to work when they were passing Obamacare. They just turned around and, excuse me, they just turned around and told us, basically, this is what we're going to do. You're going to like it. You don't like it. Too bad. You're going to like it anyhow. And they stuck it right up our keister. Now they're getting it stuck up their keister, and all of a sudden Putin is a schoolyard bully. Tough. So he bent you over and gave you a little pop in the keister there, Schumer. So what? And you're telling our president that he should cancel the meeting and have it moved from St. Petersburg? Who's going to listen to that clown? Come on, wake up. You're getting done to you exactly what you did to the American people, and you don't like it. Sorry, Charlie. Too bad. This has been Ken for the Information Nation. I'm live every Sunday night, 9 o'clock Eastern, 8 o'clock Central Time, on Orion Talk Radio. OrionTalkRadio.com, theinformationnation.com.